Psychological warfare. Familiar with the term? It's been around since ancient times. It's not bullets, it's not bombs. It's tactics like intimidation, surprise, and deception to break your opponent's will and morale. President Trump called it out last night. He believes it's being waged by domestic agencies, government agencies, against him, against MAGA. And I believe he's right.
Don't forget, this persecution is being done by the same weaponized agencies that for 7 years have been running illegal psychological warfare campaigns against the American people, much as if they were trying to destabilize a foreign country.
Wow. This got very little attention, but I do believe this is happening. Psychological warfare, we know it. We've called it. It's famous when it's used against America. Who remembers or heard of Tokyo Rose? That woman, an American, oh, by the way, who took to the microphone to say awful things to American troops and to get their hopes down. Oh, Yankee, go home. You're not going to win this war. What's your wife up to? Stuff like that. Can also be more benign, like handing out literature to Iraqis about, well, how great the occupation is going to be, or dropping leaflets from an airplane over Afghanistan with similar messages. Sometimes we overpromised in those messages. Look, psychological operations is something the military is, have all kinds of formalized programs. They've been teaching this stuff for years, and yes, it involves deception. PSYOP soldiers strategically influence and deceive. This is a U.S. military website. Psychological operations soldiers help sway opinions and actions of foreign governments, foreign groups, and individuals. Also, psychological warfare requires adaptability, resilience, and problem solving to be successful. It's great when it's used against foreign governments. Is it being used here? Take a look at this.
Trained in persuasive techniques, PSYOP soldiers use their skills to change attitudes, behaviors, values, beliefs.
Well, I'm not saying the U.S. Army did it, but the government did it. The government was involved in censoring and playing a psychological warfare game on all of us regarding Hunter Biden's laptop. Some of them actually even signed their name to that dopey letter, which was a deceptive tactic. Absolutely straight out of the psychological operations handbook. That laptop, you couldn't even talk about it on social media. The oldest newspaper in the country, the New York Post, was kicked off of Twitter. They couldn't post anything after October 14th before Election Day. Now, one of the big giveaways that there was a psychological warfare campaign in effect was General Milley. Back to the Army for a moment. Remember this? When he walked across the street with President Trump and he decided to make a super duper big deal about it.
Been there. My presence in that moment and in that environment created a perception of the military involved in domestic politics.
He should not have been there, he says, with the President of the United States. This is part of a psychological warfare campaign. Just as he apologizes for the appearance of being involved in domestic politics, he then weighs in on every single domestic political hot-button issue of our time.
I am outraged by the senseless and brutal killing of George Floyd. What we are seeing is the long shadow of our original sin in Jamestown 401 years ago. We are still struggling with racism, and we have much work to do. Unspoken and unconscious bias have no place in America, and they have no place in our armed forces. And we should all be proud that the vast majority of protests have been peaceful. We must ensure fairness and equity at all key gateway selection boards, including promotion, command, and war call. Be inclusive. Make a commitment to seek out and surround yourself with those who don't look like you.
How woke can you get? How woke can you get, General? Look, here's the thing. They've worked themselves up into a frenzy that MAGA somehow is a domestic threat. It's not, but that lie has been told so much. Some of them believe it. Some of them know it's a lie. This is what psychological warfare looks like today, what you're seeing right there. Tokyo Rose, that was obvious. But our people aren't good at calling out psychological warfare. How would they even know? I want to show you a picture of the White House press corps from 1983, the White House briefing room. There's President Reagan. But notice anything about the first row, the front row there. These are, well, there's Sam Donaldson, Bob Plant, Helen Todd. These are people who are seasoned, who are older. Yeah, they may lean a little left, some of them, but they actually remembered World War II. What did today's reporters remember? What does she remember? The congressional reporter over there at MSNBC, right? So back then we had Cronkite, Walter Cronkite. Again, he leaned left, no doubt about it. And today we have Caitlin Collins. The journalists of today are celebrated for their youth and inexperience. She's 31 years old, the it girl of CNN. That's part of the appeal. This plagues America, this lack of experience. You know, we used to actually depend on these people. We can't anymore. Barack Obama and his kind of mind-meldy friend, Ben Rhodes, talked about this a lot. Ben Rhodes was a senior aide to Barack Obama. They were very, very tight. And I am no fan of either of them, but Ben Rhodes said something rather insightful about the media. Take a look at this. The average reporter we talk to is 27 years old, and their only reporting experience consists of being around political campaigns. That's a sea change. They literally know nothing. They literally know nothing. How about that, huh? And it's true. We don't have any giants anymore. I mean, what happened to John Chancellor? What happened to Jack Anderson? These guys, again, lefties, but they had some degree of common sense. Dennis Duggan, Murray Kempton, all these guys, A.M. Rosenthal. You could not get lies past these guys. I mean, you just could not. You couldn't indict Trump if these guys were still working. Older, experienced. What do we have now? We have vain people sitting at those ridiculous plastic desks, and they think that somehow they know something because they're sitting at those stupid tables. I don't get those studios. They make me so, what? You can see how it would go to their head. Look at me. I am in this very important room. Anyway, when you have that kind of lights, camera, action, you might get full of yourself and you might say stuff like this.
I need to say that former President Trump has just started making public remarks, just as he did on the evening of his first arraignment on criminal charges. That was April, when he was booked on 34 felony counts brought by the state of New York. Now, tonight, after his arraignment on federal felony charges, he's speaking again, this time to an audience of his supporters that's gathered for a campaign fundraiser. We are prepared for his pre-fundraiser remarks tonight to again be essentially a Trump campaign speech. Because of that, we do not intend to carry these remarks live. As we have said before in these circumstances, there is a cost to us as a news organization to knowingly broadcast untrue things. We are here to bring you the news. It hurts our ability to do that if we live broadcast.
All right, you see? She's there to bring the news. It literally is news that's happening. What is new? Something that's happening. Brand new. It's new. It's interesting. There he is, the man of the hour. He's just been accused. He's putting his side of the story out. Somehow that's not news, huh? You see how warped it is? She and her friends and all of these, I'm sorry, what did we say? Idiots? I mean, maybe that's too harsh. Naive fools, how's that? And they work themselves up, and then this becomes the standard nomenclature about Trump for them.
Donald Trump is a criminal and a traitor. We know that.
There is a simple explanation. Trump is a criminal.
At the center of this, it's always been Trump. Trump is a criminal. I know you are presumed innocent until proven guilty in this country, allegedly. But let's be real. We all know that Trump is guilty.
Wow, huh? Why have a trial? Why bother with anything? I hear he's a criminal. I hear he's an authoritarian. I hear he's a fascist. They love to say that. And if he comes back, he'll govern like an authoritarian. No, actually, this is not how authoritarians sound. This is not how fascists govern. Take a look.
And I'll sign the final papers as soon as I get into the Oval Office. And we will have a national emergency. And we will then be sued, and they will sue us in the Ninth Circuit, even though it shouldn't be there. And we will possibly get a bad ruling, and then we'll get another bad ruling, and then we'll end up in the Supreme Court, and hopefully we'll get a fair shake, and we'll win in the Supreme Court. Just like the ban, they sued us in the Ninth Circuit, and we lost, and then we lost in the appellate division, and then we went to the Supreme Court, and we won.
What an authoritarian, huh? He's just filing lawsuits all over the place. He's playing by the rules, by the law. Anyway, I hope he gets back there. And then the real challenge is going to start. How to take out this swamp, this deep state, because they are desperate to cling to power. And they don't care whether it's a Republican or a Democrat. These guys are in charge. You know, we were talking about Bob Woodward yesterday. Flawed guy. He gets all kinds of credit for publishing classified information and getting it even though he doesn't have a secret clearance. Listen to what he said about who's actually in charge in Washington, even when a Democrat's in charge officially.
The meetings. Obama felt disrespected and trapped. And at different times, he felt that the military was maneuvering around him. Did they think they could take a young president?
Some of them might have thought that. So you're the president who's supposed to be the decider, who's supposed to have choice, and you've got these blocks of granite out there saying, oh no, you really don't have a choice. This is the way to do it. And he was not happy.
The establishment wanted 40,000 troops, an open-ended commitment. He wanted a plan for a U.S. exit. In the end, he gave 30,000, but still the military kept pushing.
The deep state think they're in charge. Democrat leaders, democratically elected leaders come and go. They stay. That's a corrupt and dangerous system. So yesterday we saw President Trump in court once again, and this is getting dangerous. Look, I can laugh it off. This is kind of a joke, but that they would go to this extreme, if you're just watching this on TV and hoping for the best, we got to ratchet it up a couple of notches. We got to start writing letters. We got to get active. We got to get on social media. We've got to take sides and be counted. Elie Wiesel, the great Holocaust survivor and Jewish philanthropist. He did so much for Jews around the world, and he spoke about peace, and he spoke about fighting persecution. The late, great Elie Wiesel spoke when he received the Nobel Prize, Peace Prize, about how you can't remain quiet when the chips are down.
The world did know and remained silent. And that is why I swore never to be silent whenever and wherever human beings endure suffering and humiliation. We must speak. We must take sides. For neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. Sometimes we must interfere.
So many Americans already know this, of course, going to those school board meetings, refusing to go along with this nonsense. But I know some people personally who are still on the sidelines waiting to see how everything works out. You can't wait. You got to exercise that muscle. And maybe it seems small. It's not. It's big.
Wherever men or women are persecuted because of their race, religion, or political views, that place must, at that moment, become the center of the universe.
We are being persecuted here. All kinds of people for their race, yes, for their ideas. You can be persecuted even sometimes if you are not a person of color. It's actually happening in America. This gender mess, this nonsense. Don't be afraid. Do not be afraid. Elie Wiesel, thank you very much.